I always thought about harming myself.
I'm shy. I struggled with making friends.
I never thought I could do anything. I have extremely low self esteem.
Lately, I've been eating my pain away. Just throw it back up. I've been struggling to lose weight. Somebody said I don't fit in just because I wear my hair the way I like it.
1 out of 5 American girls suffer from mental health problems. Don't be that girl. Talk to someone.
Those thoughts I had are long gone, for I have a future I need to get to.
In order to get better, I had to do better. I learned how to make friends.
I believe in myself. That's when everyone else did, I set an example.
Instead of me eating everything, I started watching my calories. The weight is falling off.
I wanted to change my hair, but I decided it was for me. It's for me.
A PSA from the Curvy Girl Project.
And good morning, and welcome to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we are filming live in the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald. And we are also streamed live in the phenomenal city of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan. You're watching Expose Under the Sun, and we have a lot of great guests and a lot of information that we disseminate out on a weekly basis. But today, you can call in. Our numbers are live, and you can call in either 313-356-7327 or 313-365-7379. And we're doing this a little different, as you see, where we've got our headphones and we've got the microphones in front of us. We're streaming in our at WHPR TV33. We have a set here that's our Virgin Islands set. And, you know, we are under the auspices of Henry Tyler, R.J. Watkins, and our engineer today is Tim Smith. But again, we've got a very, very special topic that we're going to talk about with a very special guest today. And his name is Mr. Jason Turner. And I think that a lot of people in the awesome city of Inkster, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Byron Nolan, probably he needs no real introduction out of Inkster because of all the things that he does in Inkster as being an activist and also a community associate. And he's just a person in the city of Inkster that does so much for so many people in the city of Inkster. But my special guest today is Mr. Jason Turner. Jason, welcome to Expose Under the Sun today.
Thank you. How you doing, Darwin?
I'm doing well. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things, but one of the things we're going to talk about is something that's near and dear to our hearts, and that's building black brick masters. But I'll let you kind of go, and for the few people that might not know who Jason Turner is, especially in the city of Inkster, tell a little bit about what you do, Jason, in the city of Inkster.
Really, when it comes to the city of Inkster, I'm just one of the sons of Inkster. I was raised by the proverbial village. I was the kid who grew up on the street, who was at everybody's house. So when I speak of Inkster, I speak of Inkster in the terms of family. I speak of Inkster in the terms of community. And although over time we've had others move in and it's kind of got a little disenfranchised, I still remember the days the glory days, where Inkster loved itself, and that's still there. The heart of Inkster is family and community, and we still there, and we're just trying to get it back. So for me, I don't do nothing special, but what was done for me, I stand on the back of giants. So I do what I was taught, and that's to help my next one. To each one is to teach one, dare to be different. Be the change that you want to see. So that's what I do. I helped ran youth services over at the Parks and Rec for a lot of years pre-COVID. I was vice president of the Inktown Riders Car Club, where we used cars and bikes to bring community together. So although we were centered around custom cars and motorcycles, it was really all about a community-based family event that we could bring everybody in, mentoring. If you need me and it's helpful, I'm there. That's what I do in Inkster.
So let's talk in terms of say about now. You've been trying to do a lot when it comes down to assisting, especially like a lot of young people in the city. And I see you've got a shirt on that says Building Black Brickmasters. Talk a little bit about what is Black Brickmasters, who are Black Brickmasters, and what was the concept and what is your vision for Black Brickmasters?
So I'm glad you said that. What is my vision? That is one of the reasons why I love Building Black Brickmasters. Although I can speak on my vision, and my vision has a part in it, it's a collective vision. So you got a collective team of individuals who were all doing stuff within their respective communities, community engagement. We center around fatherhood. We center around building black men, which is the cornerstone of our community. And the best part about this is it's multi-generational. So you're going to get a perspective from every platform, from the boomers, from Generation X, from the millennials, from Gen Z, and the concept is for it to keep going, right? Because unfortunately, as much as we love the boomers, death is a part of life. So eventually the boomers will get old, and then they will leave. Some of my friends will no longer be with us, and then Gen X will be the new elder statesman.
I'm glad you said the word will get old. So it's not like we're old now, because I'm one of the baby boomers. So it's good that we're going to ascend into that. And we're not like old, like how some people are trying to say that President Biden is old. But we're not at that point where we're ready to kind of stop doing some of the great things that we have been doing and that we're still doing now. But there's still a lot of things that we can pretty much like leave our legacy upon people like yourself, the Gen X's, the millennials, and others.
Old does not mean useful, and
it's just and old a lot of times is just a word that sometimes denotes how long you've been here on Earth. It's not necessarily saying that there's things that you can't do. It's just saying the wisdom that you've done.
Old is a badge of honor for these young boys who are not making it past 15, 16, and this rampant violence everywhere. Old is a badge of honor. And although me personally, I have all the jokes in the world about y'all white hair and about y'all being old, that's family business, and we don't talk about family business in front of everybody else. So today, no old jokes from me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, Jason. So what is the perception that a lot of, let's say, high schoolers and college age, students have about people that may be in their 50s and older?
So a big part of this, because I deal with it with my children, I help the youth a lot. Mm-hmm. So I took on the platform as being the liaison between generations. Okay. So although I didn't even know I was a millennial until I was told. Because of when I grew up in the time and era, I actually grew up, and I'm on the tail end of, well, the beginning of the millennials.
Okay.
So I was actually closer, or I identified with the Gen X, because they was the guys who I was running right behind. I wanted to be like them when I got big. They were a little bit older than me. So I was in high school with them. I was just in the 9th grade, or I was right behind them. So, but knowing that I'm a millennial, I also know the next generation, and I'm close to them. So I'm part of the hip hop generation. So that allows me to kind of see back and forth. And for the younger generation, there is a gift and a curse, the internet. Right? So my son second guess everything I tell him because of Google. Right? So he has all the information at the fingertips. And at this point, you don't even have to type it, because you can just use your voice activated and it'll tell you what you want. So because of that, they believe, unfortunately, that the older ones are kind of outdated and that they don't understand that this was before them. It's a disconnect. One, in the community, because it's a lot of older ones that's not there. The fathers aren't in the household. The grandfather's not in the household. The uncle's not even really around. So you don't have that older man to reach back to tell you to. So because of that, they do kind of feel that the older man is useless. The older one really don't have nothing to tell them. And that's what the Brickmasters is here to change. We just had a recent meeting, and I stated something that I had told to one of the elder statesmen that talks to us. And we were on the phone, and I told him, hey, Mr. B, you know, this is an organization, like, where can you go be a mentor and a mentee at the same time? That's invaluable, because most of the time, as a mentor, you take a lot of this stuff home. When you care, you're learning about these individuals and these young boys, and it hurts you to your heart. So a lot of times you get weak and you get empty. You steady pouring, you steady doing. But for you to pour, and then simultaneously while that's happening, somebody's pouring into you, it becomes ever going. And that is what the Brickmasters is about, because you're learning. And key, it's not just from the older going down. It really cycles all the way around, because the elder statesmen, not older, the elder statesmen frequently tell us that they've learned from us, and wow, that was a good point. And that energizes you, so it's excellent.
So it recycles over and
Yes,
over and
yes.
over again. And you mentioned about Mr. B, you mentioned about Keith. That's Mr. Keith Bennett. And Keith Bennett was one of the founders of Building Black Brickmasters. And now, when you talk about the multi-generational, talk a little bit about the generations and how the generations are meshing together to accomplish and get some things done.
So, because we're multi-generational, a lot of times we have different viewpoints on how we're going to attack a situation, as well as we are from different communities and different areas. But that also means we have different resources to be able to help. So you have people from all walks of life. I mean, all the way from the esteemed, like you have educators, you have public speakers, you have truck drivers, you have entrepreneurs.
You got ministers right.
Of the clergy. You have politicians who's been sitting in the House. So we have a multitude of individuals, and we actually just have round tables. We meet. We kind of talk about, hey, we usually all get together and say, you know, kind of how we're feeling, and we'll, on a daily basis, post within our own group chat different messages, different things we're looking at, and we decide on which one, and we just literally have a vote. It's really a democracy. And the good thing about this is it is some personalities. So I said Mr. B because outside of him, he's okay with us saying that he was one of the founding members. He okay with saying he was like one of the founders. He does not like saying he's the leader.
Right.
If you say that, he will correct you. He do not want that tag. As we're moving forward, he usually takes a step back and kind of don't want to be out front. But this man has the credentials and cachet to lead all of us. And it's some egos here. But he knows how to kind of rein them in and allows us all to be ourselves. But, hey, you're up next. Kind of calm down here and there. And that provides for a really excellent dynamic for you to see. Black men learning how to communicate and work with one another, because that's the key.
Right, exactly, without any envy, without any jealousy, without any egos that get in the way. Because that's one of the things that, just even meeting you, at the meeting, the one thing that we talked about, is listening. That's a key, because you got a lot of people that want to talk, but you don't have as many people that want to listen to what they're hearing. And the thing is that what I love more than anything else was that phrase. I can't remember who it was that said it. Might have been credited to Derek Atlas or somebody else that was there at the meeting, about we can go and we can, and I loved your concept when you said that about pouring into the cup. I can see things being disputed from, a person's mouth into somebody else's ears, but they're still getting the wisdom that's coming into their mind, into their purview, and then it's recycled, like you said, a mentorship, but also being mentored. So that's the key. We mentor each other. So it's a give and take. It's a reciprocity, in terms of say with that. It's not somebody talking at somebody. It's like somebody talking with. And usually when you have a with, you're talking and you're listening. And that's the biggest key. So Jason, talk about some of the things then that, because as you were saying, we got all these different personalities. It's like a family. Yes. I know one thing, we may have differences of opinion, but just like in families, we may have differences, but we know how to voice our differences in a respectful way. And that's the one thing that is really, we want to garner, not just in terms of, say, among brickmasters, but also in the community, is that gift of respect. Mm-hmm. And to respect somebody else's opinions. Just like we had a kind of an interesting dialogue the other day, yes, as it pertained to politics.
Yes.
And to understand in terms of, say, somebody may feel one thing, but we respect them to listen to what they say, and then hopefully they'll respect, back persons that may have a differing viewpoint, yes, about what's going on. We know in terms of, say, that there's a lot of people on different sides of the fence about different topics. Mm-hmm. But we're like a fraternity of men. And we go through a whole lot together, but at the end result is that we still work together. We still love each other, we still respect each other, and we still understand how it, like you said earlier about the village, it takes a village. And I think back to Robert Louis Robinson, that, made a statement, that made a statement in terms, say, about it takes a village, y'all. And it does take a village to raise young people. And that's what we're in the process of doing. We're trying to go in, as I think we all say all the time, each one, reach one, teach one. And we're not trying to be preachy, but we're trying to go and be educators. But at the same time, too, we are still open to be educated. So that's the key right there. Like you were saying about being a mentor, but being mentored, we can still educate, but we still are getting educated. Because there's a lot of things that I know, and you can probably attest to having young people in your household, that I'm sure with your sons and your other family members, your other children, I'm sure that you're learning a lot, from things that they're almost like ambassadors, right? They get out there and go talk about, because, just like even in the knowing who people are, like they'll mention like rappers, for example, or mention about the different types of music or even songs. And, you know, we can talk about songs that we grew up with. I'm sure that your age group can talk about songs that you've grown up with. And it's interesting, I just got back from Memphis, Tennessee for a conference, and there were a couple of young people in the vehicle with me when we were coming back. And I'm listening to them and talking about things that were going on, you know, in their world. And then when I'm telling them about things and music back in my world, they're like, who? You know, and not knowing what that song was or who it was that sung the song. But then they're questioning and looking at me, and I'm like, well, I don't know some of the rappers and some of the singers that are common in your world now. So there's a gap, but we're doing what we can to bridge that gap, and that's what's important right there.
That's understandable. Yes, that gap is it's impact. We have to have that to see those dynamics back and forth allows you to, like you said, forever learn. One thing you cannot do is put your blinders up and put a shield to say, hey, I'm finished. At that point, it's over for you. You can no longer progress. So for me, I absolutely adore being in the house with my children. I have a 19-year-old. She's grown. She live out the house. But I got a 16-year-old, a 16-year-old daughter, a 15-year-old daughter, a 14-year-old son, and a host of bonus children that come in and out the house. My house is really like one of the old school 80s, 90s sitcoms. You really never know. It's a ring at the doorbell or open because some of them have keys, and they come in, and you never know what's going on. But it allows me to stay, as they say, hip to the situation and kind of know what's going on. When I was young, we had the Encyclopedia Britannica, right? So you had to get that.
When I was young, too, we had the same thing, right?
But your knowledge would be cut off based on your family's economic level because you would learn up to a certain point, right? But then a new edition would come out. So if you didn't get that next edition, you don't know the new knowledge, right?
Right.
So with this, it's forever learning for me. I got a constant source of information, and that allows me also, that's why I say the liaison, to bring it back to the community when it comes to the Brickmasters, because it's not just me teaching. That's what this is so good about, because it allows you as an individual to touch the masses, and it humbles you, because although I may not be telling someone, a bit of my perspective and information may still be able to reach that little boy through one of my brothers, and that's what the fraternity is about. So I didn't get a chance to pledge, right? I had a different route in life which got me here, so I didn't go through that. But we have Morehouse men, we got Kappas,
Michigan State men, like myself, right?
Right. We got Kappas, we got Q Dogs, we got all of them.
Alphas, which I am, right?
So with that, this allows me to still have that brotherhood, to have that fraternity. I got ones that I can call late at night. I got ones I can call in the early morning, and I have ones that I can call midday at any time. One of my sayings is my network is my net worth, right? And Curtis Johnson, he lives off that, which is one of my brothers, right? Businessman, and all of these guys are humble. But I'm able to tell Curtis something, and Curtis will relay what I'm saying because he's talking to a young guy that's over in a different neighborhood that's out of my reach, and I'm still able to reach that kid, and vice versa. So that's why I take that liaison position so good, because in this time we're living in, you said it correctly about the dialogue and the little it wasn't an argument, but it was really a discussion back and forth about different opinions and different topics. What that does is brings truth and actually real into our world right now, because the algorithm, you don't realize it, but you really don't come in contact with people and things that you don't like, because you click like and you love all of the stuff, and the algorithm with social media, it gives you all of that stuff. So you have a timeline on all your different social media platforms agreeing with you, and that furthermore helps introduce all of these concepts, and they harden them. So that's why people have such a hard line on I'm right today, because they're around all the people. No matter how crazy their topic or their viewpoint is, you found at least 50 to 100 people that agree with that viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So now it cements your viewpoint, and now you're out in the real world with this this false viewpoint, and you're spewing these facts, alternative facts to people that you feel is real because you got 100 people backing you.
Right.
But when we're in conversation like that, where the dialogue kind of gets heated sometimes, but it's always respectable.
Right.
And it's respectful because it's real time. You're not typing with somebody. So you're sitting across from somebody who you respect. You're sitting across from another grown man. Also, it's all men of a certain stature. Everybody's up here. So as much as I love to talk to Keith Bennett, that's like one of my mentors, I'm proud to say, hey, listen, in Inkster, I'm Keith Bennett. And I don't feel bad about saying that. But it's a whole bunch of us, like from over here, over here. So I know no matter what I'm doing over here in my community, hey, Derek Atlas over there is something else. Darwin Griffin over here is something else. Curtis Johnson is over here is something else. So I can't just use my cachet and kind of steamroll you. I have no choice but to respect you and your credentials. And that's what the Brickmasters do.
Well, you know, we've got a couple minutes left, Jason. So is there any parting comments that you'd like to make before we wrap this segment up?
Yes. Please go to our various social media platforms, all Building Black Brickmasters. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on Instagram. We do have a website, buildingblackbrickmasters.org. But go follow our platforms to where you can see the upcoming community engagement. Excuse me. We do have a couple pivotal and like great opportunities coming before us within the next month or so. All of the details haven't been buttoned up, so I don't want to really go ahead and say those things, but they will be on our various platforms, and we are looking for young men to join, right? This is forever growing, so please reach out to us. And I just really want to end on a quote, and I'm going to quote him again, Dr. Bennett, Keith Bennett. So what happened was, he said this. So at our very first meeting, I brought my son, and he was actually sitting in the audience. I was up at the table on the panel, and I heard Mr. Bennett say, for 40 years, I've been loving black men and boys. And my eyes cut to my son, and we was like, oh, what is this old man talking about? And then he expounded. For 40 years, he's been in the business of loving black men and boys. And what that means is he's been helping them. He's been cultivating them and get better in life. So I'm telling you, please love a black man or a boy in your community that's close to you. That's how we get back to greatness.
I guess with those parting words, I think there's a lot of information that we want to do more so with the community. My special guest today has been Jason Turner, one of the members of Building Black Brickmasters, and you have been watching us live on Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. And if you'd like to get a copy of the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, you can contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart at area code 313-457-5944. Again, thank you, Tim. Thank you, R.J. Watkins. Thank you, Kenry Tyler, for being all that you do. Have a great rest of this afternoon.
Here at the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project, we don't just focus on health, beauty, and self-esteem. We also offer an amazing summer program for young ladies ages 12 to 18. For more information, visit our website at fullandfabulous.org. See you soon.